G'day everyone. Just checking that this stream's actually working okay. Bitrate's pretty low, but I'm having to tether off my phone today for some reason. Uh, it pelted down rain where I'm at last night, and that seems to have wrecked their internet here. So anyway, I'm Rangadad. This is not financial advice, just the way I'm looking at the market. Um, Happy birthday to my daughter Steph today. And hopefully it's a good day all round. There's a few funny things going on, which I'll start with a couple of little concerns with this rally. Um, I like the look of it from the bottom here. No real vector candles, nice and orderly, nothing too fast. This looks like a proper start of a rally. Couple of concerns that I have. The cumulative volume delta on leverage is increasing slightly, which you kind of want CVD to be increasing at the same time as price. But the spot CVD is really flat. I'd like to see this moving up as well, but it's just not. So that's a little bit concerning. It might lag a little bit, like it was a bit of a laggard in that last pump up there, but generally it's still in effectively a downturn. Like it was increasing and pretty good all the way through, and then it started dropping across the top here. So it's just something to be mindful of, I guess, that it's not coming with it yet. You want to see this start to jump a little bit, I think, if this is going to be a confirmed sort of break to new highs. It could actually just be recovery of the vectors that are up in here as well. So open interest is increasing, which that is a good sign, but we're getting a lot of red on the bid-ask delta on this run up as well. So again, that suggests we've probably pulled back, probably today, maybe tomorrow, but a pullback seems likely from this point. But yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say this is a done deal upside only yet, but it's looking better than it was, that's for sure. The CoinAnk big orders, there is a lot of orders below still. There are some pretty decent orders following price, so that's generally good to see as well. But there's not a lot to the upside either, so bringing it back up into 103,000 or so would soak up quite a bit of this, would soak up most of the short liquidity. And then I kind of expect it to come back down into here. There's a lot of 100x leverage longs in here, pretty well all the way down to the bottom. So that's another sort of concerning thing, but it's probably just means that we're going to have a bit of a pullback before another leg up. So there's some underlying strength, but I think pullbacks are fairly likely, especially when you look at this, the liquidation map across exchanges. There's a lot of 100x leverage, the orange in there. Like, I'd almost expect it to come back to 94 looking at this. It's not often they'll leave 100x leverage on the table for that long. As you can see, there's never leaves a huge amount of 100x. But, that's somewhere back into that 92 is definitely still possible on a pullback. And probably up to about, I mean, even 102 might pull this up. There's not a hell of a lot more at 104. You can take that anytime. So yeah, I'm kind of maybe a little bit more upside, but I'd be expecting recovery of some of the longs soon. Financials got a decent bid over the last couple of days, a few bids here on the lows. So the fact this hasn't fallen away yet, you would expect this to be a buy. That's generally a good sign for the economy. The leveraged Coinbase ETF has got a little one in there, the 19th biggest, but it looks small for some reason. That's an interesting level. This level's getting a lot of interest. I suspect it's a buy looking at this, but yeah. The general Coinbase one did get a decent buy yesterday, right on the close. So I do think it's up in general, but it looks like it might get a little bit of a pullback. I bet that I suspect is a sell. We've gone up a little bit since then, but typically they're not buying after a run up like that. And it's a previous take profit level too, obviously. So a little bit sus on this as well. Could lead to a decent pullback. Similar thing to what we had here. I'll just check that the live stream's actually running. Yeah. Sorry, the bit rate's a bit low. Can't really do much about that at the moment. So let's get into the charts. The other thing is Bitcoin longs are still dropping. So I think these guys think they're still going to get a cheaper Bitcoin at some stage, relatively soon. So that's something to keep in mind. In general, though, this daily candle, I mean, that's a bullish engulfing candle. Typically, at the moment, it's clearing the value area high. Now, this candle is nowhere near done yet, 2.5 hours. If we come back inside, as long as we're above that point of control, around 98, then I think upside's still more likely. We still have a bit more of this wick than I would like down here. I'd still like to see it further down, but at the moment it seems to be holding this volume area, so it doesn't want to bridge that gap again at the moment. So yeah, it seems like upside is still reasonably likely. Nice big wick with some vector candles up here on the shorter time frames. So short term up is still quite likely, in my opinion. Momentum as well. Just so it looks like it's bouncing. Probably need another day to confirm this. If that does have another follow through day, then BBWP will also likely reclaim that signal line. So that will be quite a bullish signal. The advanced decline line, just going to go, prefer to show this on the actual S&P 500 just to make sure. Yeah, look, nice bounce on that. Still not out of the woods yet, but it's bouncing okay. So if we have a look at this, still, I don't know where it's going to come from that we actually push above this channel and actually push above that trend line there. Basically, everything came in line with expectations. I mean, inflation rate's up slightly on the previous month, but everything's pretty well on par. But inflation's ticking up ever so slightly. So, um, so yeah, still a lot of issues around these charts. We're still very much at the highs here. Equal weight, Nasdaq has jumped, which is a good sign. You kind of want it to reclaim that bullish control zone though on the stochastic momentum as the BBWP ticks up. At the moment, it actually looks like it could pull back a little bit harder. There's a chance anyway. It's sort of a coin toss with a lot of these at the moment. Certainly not a place where I would feel confident buying this market. I think a confirmed breakout of this top trend line would actually be a pretty good buy, but at this stage, I still would prefer to see it come down and retest the bottom of this channel. So yeah, equal weight S&P 500 is still coming down. I'd at least want to see a retest of this bottom of this channel. If we get a retest and a bounce off that, then yeah, S&P 500 is probably going up. If we break through this and retest it and break to the downside, then that's not going to be good for the market in general. IWM, a little bit of an uptick day, but it's still finding sellers even on days where it has a bit of a push up. XLI is still pulling back. It looks like it may have found a little bit of support here, but that's not a strong candle today. XLY XLP is going with it, as is the equal weight XLY XLP. So this is still suggesting overall strength in the market. So, you know, it's a dull market. It's grinding up and to the right. Hard to short that at this stage. KRE, that did get a bid on the dark pool, so that's probably going to lead to upside. Which is generally bullish on the rest of the market. ITB is still pulling back. These things can concern me a little bit. Home construction and home builders, not great signs at the moment. And this is just a precursor to a bigger market crash next year, I think. Semiconductors got a little bit of a bid. It's looking pretty weak still though, so in general that's probably going to pull the market back a little bit. DJI Gold's pulling back hard, so again that's a precursor for a pullback on the market as well. We have broken this little low here. If we break this level, then the market's surely going to pull back. DJT, DJI, both still pulling back as well, and the VIX is still low. See, this is the thing, the S&P 500, it's going against where it probably should be going. So I think the VIX, realistically, to buy the market, you want to see the VIX spiking at least a little bit. Skew had a bit of a bounce yesterday. No real surprise there, but it's still pulled back a bit, and it is at some pretty decent highs. We don't see these highs very often, and generally you will get a pullback from these levels at some stage. So when and how big is kind of anyone's guess, but at the moment it's looking like potentially we may even have a red end to December on the general stock market. It just depends how big the pullback is and how long it lasts. There is a chance we grind up towards the end of December, have a bit of a Santa rally, and then pull back probably last week of December, after Christmas into New Year. That is, I have seen that happen before as well. So Chinese market's pulling back a little. UK market, UK market still looks like it's got some strength there. So Japanese market needs to break these highs. TLT is pulling back. So bonds, yeah, interesting. High yield junk, still grinding up. So most of these bond indicators are still grinding up. TLT is pulling back. Yeah, 2-year and 10-year are kind of flat. No, 10 years jumping, so a little surprising that. Oh, no, that's why TLT is pulling back. So yields are going up a little bit. Copper is still struggling to get through those moving averages. It may actually pull back from there if the market does at the same time. Gold's pushing higher, so gold's suggesting a little bit of a flight to safety here. Silver's struggling to get through the trend line, and gold is actually outpacing silver at the moment. So silver needs to break to that high, which it could do fairly soon. It's recovered this vector for the most part. So keep an eye out for that. US oil needs to confirm this break of that trend line. If it does, then I suspect it will keep running, which will probably lift inflation, which is going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works for the Fed. Anyway, Dixie's pushing up, so all the other currencies are pretty well right at their lows still. Japanese yen is pulling back. Man, this is gearing up for the Japanese to increase their interest rates, which will probably cause the pullback in the market. So that would suggest sort of grind up towards, or for the next week. Shit, it's only, about a week. Grind up until then, and then we see a pullback actually into Christmas, potentially. Brazilian real got a bit of a bid there. Seems to be trying to hold that level anyway. Yeah, Hong Kong dollars looking a little weaker. So this is my biggest concern at the moment, right? I need to, let's show it like this. So this orange line is global liquidity. The light blue line here is S&P 500. Don't worry about the Bitcoin longs, we'll get rid of that. So we have a pretty major divergence here between global liquidity and the US stock market. This is not particularly normal. It could be related to the rotations, like the equal weight S&P 500 has been pulling back, but ES1 is not. And if I do SPR, I think it is. What is it? Oh, RSP. Duh. Dyslexic much. Did I just add that? Ah, you fuck. Sorry. Oh well, let's ignore that for a second. Oh no, I know what I can do. Apparently I can't. Fuck. All right. There we go. Oh, fuck yeah. Alright, anyway. So yeah, this disparity tends not to last even as long as what it has. And the last time that I can find where it was this bad, so there was a big drop in global liquidity at the same time that the stock market was still going up. It's pretty well just in here, which is between July and August 2021. There was another one here. Sorry, this is probably I guess a bigger one in a way. Like you're making lower highs on the global liquidity and you're making higher highs on the S&P 500. So this was another bit of disparity in here at the end of November or start of November 2021, and then obviously it dropped away more into middle of November, even towards the end of November. So, and same thing here, dropped away again in December, whilst the S&P 500 was still making new highs. So this whole thing we could just be at the start of this. We could be at this sort of moment here, or sorry, somewhere in around here, 16th of July 2021, in which case the market still ran pretty hard. And we did get a decent pullback in September. This is kind of what I'm expecting. This pullback here is kind of what I'm expecting in January. It might start a little bit before that now, just looking at the market, but 13% pullback wouldn't surprise me. And then over the course of, 91 days, so what's that? Bit under 3 months, about 3 months. It still ran up. So that would kind of align with pullback in end of December, early Jan for a month or so, 10, 15% on the S&P 500, and then a bounce, run up, and new highs on S&P 500, lower highs on global liquidity, and that will probably signal the top, I would think, of the markets, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But that's potentially aligning with around a May sort of peak, which kind of aligns pretty well with what I'm expecting for Bitcoin. So yeah, it's an early warning sign, this divergence. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to stop going up right now. Okay, I think that's going to do for now. Sorry, I'll do a little bit more on Bitcoin. I'll just go into the shorter time frame. So 15-minute, I mean, it's still looking reasonably strong. A bit of bearish divergence on cyclic RSI at the moment, so that's suggesting we probably will get a bit of a pullback. Don't worry about those trades. It's still work in progress for this thing. But yeah, that's certainly not super bearish at the moment. I kind of want to see this turn down. But it looks like momentum is kind of shifting with that divergence there. What do we got? The 1 hour. Why is that looking like that? Surely that saved my... Ah, motherfucker. Ah, that's loaded up the wrong thing for some reason. Anyway. Just gonna change that. This isn't ideal, but yeah. So it looks like we should be probably pulling back a little bit from here. Vector candle targets are sort of at least into that 98, 99 area, which is the 200 EMA on the 15 minute as well. That will be a critical level, testing that 200. We do have the 800 pretty close as well, which is the 1 hour 200. So I think that's going to be a pretty critical level, that low 98 sort of region. If we can bounce off that, then that's going to be reasonably bullish. I'll just do liquidation heat map quickly, if there is such a thing as quickly on this. So not a lot of liquidity to grab. It's already grabbed most of it, most of the recent stuff. So again, back into even 96 could be a level there. If we break down from this area here, so that 98 500 level, if we break beyond that, then your 96 450 is the next target, I think. Just have a look at the weekly. Well, okay. There's still a bit more to the upside. So pullbacks might only be relatively short. So that 98k, 99k is potentially going to be all you get for the time being. Just want to wipe out some of the 100x longs. But yeah, that's sorry, that probably screwed my stream up a little bit. I'll ring you back in a sec. So yeah, pretty decent targets up here around that 102, even up into the 104 500. But yeah, so look, pullbacks might be short-lived, generally bullish, but I think next week's going to be very interesting with the Bank of Japan stuff. So I have to see what happens there. For the time being, though, I have sort of bought back into most of the medium-sized coins that I wanted to buy. Still got a little bit of liquidity. Just see if we get a pullback. If we do get a pullback, I'll probably be buying on the way down. All right, catch us later.